from another 6 months to a year.
Does the juvenile center
it would go within that same time frame. I'd say the juvenile facility is in the 12 to 18 months maximum.
it would be going concurrent with each other?
Absolutely.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Yes, he, in this plan, in order to accomplish this, I see that we will be eliminating some positions. Do you have in mind those positions now, or how will we know, and when will we know, and what the cost will be?
That would, we do not know what those positions are in mind at this time. That would be under the sheriff's discretion as to what positions he will need. And also the design is going to determine what positions he needs.
I have one other question on that. Will we be adding new positions because of this jail? Because we're adding a kitchen in there and we don't we bring in our food now?
We have a kitchen now.
Okay, that we use?
That the contracted service uses.
Okay, so we won't be hiring somebody to run the kitchen itself. We'll still be using contracted services? Those
things we will look at, but all of those things will be decided. The other thing I would add was that when these two projects were looked at, the Juvenile Transition Center and the jail, they were a couple miles apart. They're now only a block apart. As we look at the design phase, I think we look at, do we need two kitchens? Do we need two laundries within a block of each other? And so those things will be discussed in the design phase as we look at lowering the cost of the project.
Commissioner Nash?
Just a quick question. I know I asked this before, but I wanted to make sure. How is this this new change going to impact our Honeywell contract? Is it going to be positive or negative? And will there be any future negotiation and savings for the new structures going on?
In the design phase, we will work with Honeywell on the utility side of the project. For the jail, the current facility, we did not do any work in the current facility with Honeywell because we knew that there was a potential for change to that facility. So we have not. The Honeywell project did not include any work to the current facility. So when we go in new, we will work in coordination with Honeywell. And one thing I'd like to add is we did just get an audit back from Honeywell, and we are recovering 106% in energy savings to cover the cost of the bonds. I've had that. I've asked Lynn to send each one of you that audit electronically, and I have a paper copy here for Commissioner Dierzinski.
I'd like to just, as one commissioner anyway, just congratulations on that, because that was very complicated, and to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised it worked that well. I mean, 106% is a miracle.
No.
Well, it's darn good.
Guaranteed.
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 You did 100.
Still.
Commissioner Dierzinski?
I said I'd shut up, but I'm not. I've only worked with Heath, what, two and a half years now?
You have to figure out his name? No.
Heath.
Yeah, it's not Keith anymore.
Yeah, I'm definitely one here. I gotta give me a break. Everything I've seen him present to this board is extremely conservative, and I'm very appreciative of that. I've never seen him speculate beyond what's realistic, and always hedges his bets on the conservative side, because the information he has, you're dealing with something that's going to happen 6 or 7 months from now, and lots of things can change. When we do our budget, probably 60% of what's out there you really don't know for sure. You're making your best guesses. And always hedge him on the conservative side. And that's why we don't get in trouble.
And I just have one other question. What would the term of these bonds be?
25 years.
25.
What we're recommending, but like is the financial consultant indicated, Mr. Sabonis, we'd like a callable feature in there as well.
Does that cost, Heath?
initially, callable bonds would cost more than non-callable bonds. But then we have the opportunity to refund them for savings or restructure them. So on an all-in basis, our expectation is that empirical analysis says the majority of our clients would be better off issuing callable bonds, because we end up refunding. There has been a bond issue I've issued that I haven't refunded for economic savings and/or structuring flexibility for my clients. So, if there's a strong need not to do that, then we would not do it. But, the cost savings we think will be beneficial all in by looking at both a new money refunding opportunity for you. And the reason being is that even though rates are low, as you get out 10 to 15 years, rates start to rise. Someday there'll only be 1 or 2 years left to pay on them, and they'll be back at low on the yield curve.
There's no provision for the bond issuer to call.
The call feature, and the only one we would recommend being involved in, is an optional call at your choice.
We can do it, they can do it.
And right now, it's a standard equilibrium point that doesn't cost you or doesn't benefit you to change. It's about 9 years. We issued 25-year bonds. After about 9 years, they're callable at par. But they're callable at par at our choice based on a commissioner's vote. Investors buy them, they commit to own them maturity, they'll price them to the call date.
Any other questions on this particular slide? Because okay. Really, the last slide just gives you the same principal and interest as a total on the bottom. It breaks down percentage of each of the base bids and the alternates as to what percentage they would be if those costs were what we're saying they are in this particular slide. So it's really for budgetary purposes, but for myself, I guess I'm sorry to say.
Are those slides included in here?
They are. In the very back, it starts at slide 22, I believe. Any other questions or concerns? Thank you for your time.
All right.
Back into open session.
We go back in open session.
Back.
Phew.
All in favor of that? Going back in open session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I just want to say thank you for everybody putting all this hard work into all this, the staff, RQAW, Heath, everybody that was involved in it, the committee. I think it's a good project. So, with that, hearing the motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries and passes. Well, it was an hour or so ago. All right, moving on to the next item for consideration. CPS 13/03-08 from the Sheriff's Office. Approve 1-year extension agreement, partnership and neighborhood safety program between.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item for consideration is CPS 13/03-09 from the Sheriff's Office Emergency Services. Accept joint endeavor agreement between the.
So moved.
Okay.
Saved you from that one.
There you go. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is old business. Any old business? Seeing none, any new business?
Yes, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Mr. Conrad was he was a former county commissioner. Are we going to do anything for him?
I would offer a resolution of
And I'll support that, yeah, I think we ought to do that.
Yes.
I'll second that.
We need to vote on that, or
all in favor.
all in favor of writing a appreciation resolution for Gary Conrad? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Gary Conrad and I were opposing chairs of our parties for 4 years. And we always got along really well, even though we didn't always agree on everything, but I considered him a friend. And the funeral's at 1 o'clock on Saturday, at 8 o'clock funeral home, so.
Yeah, Peck Street, yep. Alrighty, thank you. At this point in time, there's a public comment on a new topic. Anybody in the audience got a new topic? I do have one from Matt Crehan.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here at the beginning of the meeting, but a couple of things that need to be addressed here.
Can you please state your name, please, for the record?
Matt Crehan.
Thanks.
Need to be addressed here because they're going to come up sooner or later anyway, and they may as well come up now and get them out of the way. Right now, you've got a jail capacity of 379 people. This new jail is proposed to have a capacity of 544, and that's about a 165 increase. Right now, you've got 46 guards that work in the sheriff's department assigned to the jail, and with 544 inmates, that's about a 40% increase. You might have some staff efficiencies available because of this design, but with that many people with the capacity to hold that many people, I doubt if you're going to be able to get rid of all those guards. It might be as wishful thinking, but like it or not, once you get this thing up and running, particularly when you have two separate wings of the jail that are further away now than the basement of the county building as well as the existing 3-story jail, you're going to have a jail that's across the street from the existing one. You're still going to go ahead and have the upper floor, I believe it's the 3rd floor, that's going to be turned into the work release and low security area. And they're all going to have to be staffed, and they're going to have to be adequately staffed for the deputy's safety. For no other reason than they have to break the fight. And at the last meeting we had here on the 21st of February, I raised this issue, and former Sheriff Carter said, "Look, there's a problem. You call 911." And it's like it or not, if you're a deputy trying to break up a fight, you haven't got time to wait for 911. And Sheriff Rosler said, "Well, just let them fight it out." Well, one of the first duties of the sheriff is to keep the peace. And if you have a fight in the jail, like it or not, it's got to be broken up right now. And guaranteed, if you don't have adequate deputies in place to go break up a fight and some inmates gets banged up, I'm looking at the board that's going to have to respond to a lawsuit on that, because that's what you're going to get. So like it or not, you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish on this. It might be nice to think we can get rid of a whole bunch of guards, but in practice, I don't think it's going to be feasible. Another thing that was brought up is this plan now has been going on for about 6 months. We started in August, and there's been quite a bit of research on it and quite a bit of meetings on it. But all that time, nobody said anything about the lawsuit that's simmering in Lansing over the public defender system. And if the judge in Lansing decides that you're going to have an enhanced public defender system, nobody here has any choice. You have to go ahead and spend the money on it. So that means you're not going to have as much money to spend for other things. And it also means that with a better attorney, you're probably not going to have as many people go to jail as you would before. The public defender, like it or not, is not adequate. And when you have retained counsel, it's much more adequate, and you have a better chance of not going to jail, or at the very least not going for as long. One other aspect of this plan is the parking, and as Commissioner Hughes brought up, if you're going to have additional parking, you're going to have additional blacktopping, you're going to have additional land block, and it's still another expense. These things all have to be addressed. The idea that we think we can get away with less staff, and we think we're going to have these savings, it's kind of like a business projection of a new business. Nobody projects that it's going to be going into bankruptcy 3 to 5 years down the road, but there's a whole lot of businesses that do, just because of things that we can't even comprehend right now. And as far as a lot of these savings are concerned, it might be a lot nicer to go ahead and give that back to the taxpayer, instead of the heavily override that you could have been given last June, I think it was. The county decided, no, we're not giving it back to the taxpayer, we're going to keep it.
Okay, Mr. Crehan, I applaud your concerns, and I'm sure that's all being looked into. I mean, I'm sure none of that's going to be left undealt with, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I'd like to entertain it. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See you.
Entertain anything.
Go.